Hello, and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. The German Empire has sent us an ultimatum demanding to withdraw our fleet that is operating near their borders, claiming that it threatens their trade lines with neighboring countries. The government requires your advice on how to apply. This is an absolute disgrace, blah blah blah, minus 30 with the Germans. Or I can pay them off. No. Our country has increased its financial growth and tax income is booming. Our Prime Minister asks your opinion on where to allocate the extra finances. Of course, spend more on developing our fleet. Or invest in industry. That's plus 2.75 to GDP. But it's a hit to my naval budget. So that gives me 450 million. My monthly balance is now good because, okay, I guess I'm at war with Germany now after the previous thing popped up. I wonder if this might actually be better in the long term because it increases the GDP. But this is clearly the Colin option. War with Germany. Fine. Now, I've been playing through a couple of turns, like off camera, so to speak. So I have my new cruisers out in the field. I've sent all my older cruisers to Plymouth. Heavy cruisers, that is. Niobe class. These 5 are Niobe class. You can be turned into scrap. Sadly, you don't really get anything for scrapping a ship. You just, well, you stop paying for it, but you don't get any resources back. It says it provides a small amount of profit according to the ship's displacement, but like I don't see any money pop up. So maybe it adds a little bit. But it should say on the scrap button, I think, how much, if anything, it adds. So now, at war with the Germans. I've been paying attention to this little news dialogue thing here at the beginning of every turn. And the Germans are building a lot of new ships. U-class battleship. I don't know if that's any good. They are also building battle cruisers. They have a lot of ships. 18 battleships. That's more than my current fleet. I currently have 5 battleships and 5 battle cruisers. Where did all the other ones go? Well, the what's it even called? I did scrap a bunch of ships. The Illustrious class battleships were all scrapped. The Hector class battle cruisers were all scrapped. The Palace class wasn't even built, so I'm just gonna delete that one. But I also have the Victorious class battleships. They are being refit, so that's why they are not in active service at the moment. And the Indomitable class battlecruiser, my initial class of battlecruisers, are also being refit. So they are... where are they? Here. Battlecruisers refit for 5 and 4 months. And battleships refit for 6 months. The Illustrious class battleships, yeah, the ones I scrapped. I just couldn't make the design work with the weight offset thing. and they didn't really have any displacement left to do much about it. The same was true with the Hector class battlecruisers, because there are limits to what you can do in a refit. Now, what I do in refits as Colin, because I haven't figured out a better way to figure out a budget for the refit, is I just compare the cost of the ship I'm refitting to the to a newer ship of the same type. So, for instance, my newest battlecruiser class was the New Zealand at a cost of 37 million. So I just kind of take the, for example, Indomitable class battlecruiser, that's the old ones. I compare the cost of that one to the new one, and I kind of just split the difference, and that's my refit budget. So that gave me a pretty hefty budget to refit the Indomitable class, but again, there are limits to what you can do in the refit. So I gave them turbines to save on weight, because you can't do anything about the displacement, and that let me push the speed up to 30 knots. And I also changed around some of the secondaries and stuff, and tried to make them pretty balanced. The same for the Victorious class of battleships. They had the old, what's it called? The old Mark 1 guns that were kind of outdated, so they now have Mark 3 13-inch guns, and also a turbine. Push the speed up to 26 knots, so they can kind of keep pace with the... Okay, that actually made them faster than the Vanguards. That's my new class that I'm building. I designed them in the last episode, and they will be done in 13 months. In research, what has happened when I was playing off screen, I'm now researching 15-inch guns, Mark 1. Geared steam turbines. They are, let's see, engine cost per weight is even more than the regular steam turbines. So these are going to be really, really expensive. But horsepower per ton is also much better. So the engine cost per weight is higher, but the weight per horsepower is less. So I don't know how that's going to work out in terms of cost. Probably be a little bit more expensive. We shall see. Also, destroyer design. No. Boilers. Battleship funnels. Still no sign of the oil fuel that I want. So yeah, nah. I don't know when I will finally be able to get away from coal. I have a huge fleet in the Mediterranean, but now that I'm enemies with the Germans, my relations with the Italians is probably even better than it ever was. The Germans and the French are suddenly kind of friendly. And the French and the Italians are not so friendly. So, I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. Alliances keep shifting. I would really like to be enemies with the Italians, because wow, that's a big fleet. Yeah, let's see what happens in April, I mean. April is the month after March, not May. Tension. Here we have a battle. Wow. Okay. N-class battleship. Q-class? Are these the ones that keep exploding? The N-class? I think so. Q-class is something else? Something not encountered before? That's a lot of battleships. Wow. I think this is a fight I might actually want to run away from. Success. Nice. Because I did not have my battleships there. My battleships are all... Well, I have 2 battleships here. I can move them up there. Link up with my other fleet. And I have a task force. That's DD versus DD. Let's take that one. V99. No idea if that's a new or an old class. It's cheaper than the really expensive French DDs that I faced in the previous war. It's actually cheaper than this one. But especially for destroyers, the cost of the ship not really like directly relative to the quality. Especially not in a 1v1 kind of fight. Like if you spend a lot of money on torpedoes and stuff, then that's not really gonna help you against an enemy destroyer. So she fired off a torp. How many launchers do you have? Let's take a look at this German boat. You got 2 single launchers. You got 1 5.1 inch gun. And a lot of 1.6. Okay. I think I can take you. Are you gonna eat those torps? No. Weather is good. +5. Let's get those guns firing. Torpedo in the water. Whoa, another one. Don't hit. Yeah, fine. Dodged it. Really need to have faster turrets on my next destroyer class. Scoring some hits. I don't remember which class this was. I think it's an not the newest one. I think it's Advanced Heart. Top speed 35 knots, so she's faster than I am. There we go, good hit. Last of my torpedoes. One exploded in the water, one changed direction. I'm scoring some good hits now, but I'm getting hit in return, so... Keep an eye on that torpedo reload. Then I can slow it down again. Now she's all out of torps. This torpedo just casually sailing alongside us. Torp range 6.2 kilometers. Slow torps. Otherwise, minimum bulkheads, some armor. Crop 1, anti-flood 1. Gonna keep shooting. I've got the firepower. I think I have the survivability. Should be able to take this in a straight slug match. Come on now. Okay, I guess we just keep sailing parallel. Get a lot of minuses for own maneuver, so I'm just gonna try and keep that to a minimum. Yeah, I think I'm going back to 5.9s on my next class of DDs. Maybe even 6 if I can fit them. I think that might be too big for a destroyer though. Yes, there we go. These 4.9s just don't do the same kind of damage per hit. There we go. I said just as it did 1,000 damage. Fine. That's a victory. But that's just one ship out of the huge German fleet. And this war didn't really come at a good time, because it happened just as I was refitting a bunch of battleships. Only got 5 in active service, 5 battlecruisers. Versus the 16 that the Germans have. The Italians have a bunch. They're all in the Mediterranean. I'm not sure if the AI is smart enough to move them up here. And the Germans are building 44 new ships. Like, not too long ago, they had a completely depleted crew pool. Quite the recovery. Refit. 3 months for these two. 4 months. 5 months. And we have a strike. Now this I want to take. Lutzow class heavy cruisers. These are old, outdated by far. I have my new Latona class. Like, these Lutzows weren't even a match for my initial heavy cruisers. Pommern class also looks like an old design. Lots of light cruisers. Q-class battleships. N-class. Okay. They're not very expensive. They're not the newest class the Germans have laid down, at least, because I've seen them in the little news thing that they're building U-class. Of course, it doesn't tell me exactly what kind of ship that is, if it's a brand new, very expensive dreadnought. My latest class that I'm building now cost 50 million. And that's on a budget. If I had not subtracted the 20% thing, they would be way over 60. Some of the highest rolls, when I was having the AI roll up 5 random designs, were close to 70. So that's potentially the kind of ships we could be facing. 70 million. It's the Latona herself. You have top speed of 30 knot. These have a top speed of 23. So I'm gonna slow down everything. Also Latona class 23. Can't have you just outspeeding the entire fleet. You're already set to 23 to follow. That's fine. You guys are my scouts. These are my brand new light cruisers. They can go 35 knots. They are even faster than my destroyers. And, in my opinion, quite beautiful ships. We're gonna see if they hold up. I'm gonna just have these guys screen for the fleet. Oh, and we have one more here. The Germans did have a lot of like light ships. HE. Or Division 3. I want you to join up with Division 3. HE on the secondaries. Okay. No. 23. You guys are shielding my my battleships. I'm gonna let the DDs do the scouting, even though I initially said otherwise. Because they do have the lower detectability range than the light cruisers. While they can't see as far, they can get closer without being seen. So it works out. Let's take a look at my heavy cruisers. Also quite beautiful ships. I just wish I could find a way to make the two funnels the same height. And my New Zealand class. Wait, which class is this? I've forgotten. Prince of Wales class. That's the class. Contact. Latona spotted the enemy. It's a heavy cruiser. At a range of 17 kilometers. Have these lights kind of slow down. Latona is spotting everything. So yeah, very happy with my new heavy cruisers. Can spot and hit at long range. +5 weather. Very good. Very nice. And my DD smoke up. Torps in the water against the light cruiser. What does a German light cruiser look like today? It looks like an older design, very much outdated. BB, that's one of the ones with too many guns. So is that one. Here's a little bit more of a sensible design. They've stuck with the wing turrets though. Old heavy cruiser, old heavy cruiser, old heavy cruiser. Heavy cruiser squadron can speed up a bit. Oh, completely forgotten about this boat. Now you can slow down again. Battleships, you can focus on that battleship. We have a torpedo coming in. And of course, just after these were built, I researched the hydro acoustic thing. Lets me spot torpedoes further out. I think this is gonna miss. No, it will not, because I think it just changed direction. Too late to avoid now. Torpedo hit on the Latona. Very nice, very nice. Torpedo hit on the Renown. That's okay, she took it on the chin. I know the Germans have researched 20-inch torpedoes. I'm not sure if that's what's being used on these light cruisers. I don't think so, because the torpedoes didn't do that much damage. Everything is hitting this battleship, which doesn't have a proper name. It's a bunch of numbers. Yeah, that's one of the too many turrets ships. At least they're not fielding pre-dreadnoughts anymore. And I know that Germany has deleted this design because I saw them do it. So they're not going to be building new ones of that type. Which is probably good for them. Yeah, short guns. Short guns of a relatively small caliber for a battleship, and just way too many of them. So let's see if this one is gonna suffer flash fires, or if it sinks in some other way. Because I think most of these that I've seen have been lost to flash fires. This is not going to survive anyway, though, with the damage it's taking, so... Extensive fire, actually. Maybe they've been upgraded with better barbettes, and that's why they didn't explode spectacularly. Damage. Dealt. Let's do it, sort it this way. Who won the damage competition? 38,000 for the Africa, 22 for the Renown. Those were my two battleships. And 19 Prometheus. Latona 6.2. She spotted the enemy from like a long way away. Like 17 kilometers? I have to view that design. Ship design. Latona, view. What kind of spotting do you have? Spotting range. It should only be 13,600, but it's it seemed to be more. Okay, I'm not gonna refit all of these, just the ones that are in for repair. And it's not gonna be a major refit. I just want to fit hydro. It's not even that expensive. Yeah. hydro and shaft 1. And then I can just like refit whichever ships have to go in for repairs. Just give them a refit while I'm at it. I think that's a good idea. And which ones are in for repair? Renown and Africa are in for repair. Latona, Prometheus, Fearless, Canterbury. Oh. I can't refit them while they are repairing. Never mind. But once they're done repairing and are still in port, I can give them a quick refit. I don't think that should take too long. How's my research looking? Engines, 1 month. So yeah, no sign of any oil. I wonder when I get that one. Big guns, 15-inch guns are researched. I want them to be Mark IIs to be worth it. Something is being researched. Alright, that's it for this episode. Goodbye, and take care. And soon, maybe next episode, we're gonna have a big battle with a big fleet. Because wow, that's a lot of stuff. 179 ships. Italy has just been sitting here and spamming boats without taking any losses. But also, I don't think they've been scrapping much. I think a lot of these ships are very, very old. How is France doing? Active fleet 32. They have the money to rebuild, they just don't have the crew pool because I just killed them all, I guess. But they're friendly with Germany. It's gonna be a weird alliance. Goodbye, and take care.